Hello, dear planet. Hello, world. Dear Mozhans, dear knowledge seekers, everyone and every being around and in the planet. We are welcoming you to joining us for tonight's Mozhan Session number 5. We remember that we survived, or we at least made it to the shoreline with the help of the only and for all us present Mother Earth in the shape and form of a turtle. And so that's really right now where we are. It seems to be morning. The sea is quiet, almost quiet. But we feel familiar now with this water in the background, and we feel intensely but calm and relaxed the surface now of the bigger turtle. Today we start with a understanding of an exercise, how you relate yourself to your environment. And so we call it the Sandman that breathes like the wave. I want you to imagine whenever the wave is coming, you're breathing deeply into your stomach and you build that wave in your stomach, so your belly basically rises when the water is rising, and when this tidal wave is collapsing to the shoreline, it's also the moment when you breathe out. You tune into the rhythm of the biggest environment that is seemingly not part of yourself, but you welcome this like white noise, and you feel the sun on your skin, and on your back you feel the many ones, the particles below you, holding you up or carry you on the surface. And just for a second you wanted to just walk again, escape the situation. What we call the mind is wandering. And yet we become aware that if we choose the sea over the ocean, the walking disappears, and the wave we imitate is what we are, and so we can't walk. But we can raise and fall. We remember the star chamber that we found inside of the turtle, and how the turtle connects to his environment through literally splitting the light from the oxygen to sustain itself with just building and unbuilding water. And so we do build ourselves with that oxygen coming through the breathing. The deeper we allow it into our belly, and just then after the belly is completely full, we feel everything else in our lungs. And as we closed our eyes, try to feel the field that we are laying on as sand, so that flat shape that we are as a body becomes even more flat now. We attract the wave through the breathing inside of us, and we start to feel that through this flow, that there is another flow going within inside of us. The other one, the blood, the red one, that stream, the more deep we can feel ourselves, maybe we get a glimpse that there are also two, one on the left, one on the right. Yet you are one, and you are one with the environment. That is not only a thought, but every wave that is coming to the shore over the sand, it basically puts you into pieces. You are crumbling as the sand is doing, because you feel that the more oxygen you have in your body, the more you can feel every single cell, and it almost feels like sand, but light. It's like they are all spinning in some way or another, and yet you are fueling this spin like a dynamo just through your breath. The soundtrack is the ocean itself. Maybe it's still better to just walk away. We could lose ourselves in the vast sea once more, but now it's not water, it's silica and oxygen in a combination that seems to be sand. So how could we find ourselves again? Could we just not allow ourselves to let go that much that we become part of the beach? And yet also the beach, now we hear in the other way, hear the wind, the far, and somehow we are nourished by just the hearing of that there is what we are. And in that instant we accept that we just integrated element of water through the experience that we spent losing our faith, our hope, and yet we got carried away, and now we are in a new situation. Today we will travel in time. It's about 18 months back. And yet we will travel to this place where there is no time. You will see that the information literally laying in the past is timeless and can be applied in any moment of here and now. So when we talk about integration, I mean, we integrate here space and time. So how could we integrate something that is completely different? One is tangible, one is not tangible. And yet if we just have a dot, that's not a dot, but if we just have a dot like this, we can't see inside, so we have also issues to integrate in that moment. If we make it a bit bigger, this dot, this is the same. We zoom in to basically recognize or to find something within. So we are zooming into a sand corn or into one of your cells, you name which one. And this sand corn was in the beginning once a tall mountain. And now it is very tiny. And so when we have you as the tall mountain, can we make you just a dot of a sand corn? If you can manage to let go that much, to become just a particle of yourself, through the integration of the fields, you can basically re-manifest yourself. So the exercise of the Sandman, this image of being part of something bigger, is in a very intense or materialistic feeling, the beach here to make you not only comfortable but knowledgeable about how it could feel when you have just the idea in front of you laying there. And so when we talk about the field and the soul, it's literally just the joint venture of these two together, and we end up in the matter state. So here it's hard to see space and time. Depending on the speed of this particle, it could be anywhere, anytime. So there is literally no space location for this, because it's many at the same time. If we zoom in bigger, we have to slow down the image or the perception of what we are observing. And therefore, yet we are able to put something in. And so we can become aware what we are containing in the field state here. And yet the universe doesn't want you to just control yourself in the way as a robot, but to see that between the state you are in right now and the other ones, or the different states, don't take your life away. And so I want you to choose between either this scenario or this scenario, where we start building up the beach. So we remember that the light and the oxygen creates together as a water. And now we have to build the particles, the sandbox itself, to create us back then as a human again. So can we let go ourselves the same way as in the ocean to become particles? And which one do you like more? Do you like this one here or this one? In terms of plasma technology, here we would have the gravitation as a primal or the core, and here you would have the magnetical as a core. So you pick the basic building parts of creation. So let's keep that in mind, this one or this one. And now we go back with our awareness onto the sand. We reconnect to the waves. The breathing is holding us together. And so in the deepest ocean of air, water in your ears, and light inside your core, you have this vision, you have this intention of creation. To literally build yourself in the sand. So as we just saw, it's pretty easy to do. You just lay there and then you gather up all your parts and become that what you remember to have been or to be, an image of yourself. So if we take this not just seriously, but more in a way of what if it is possible? I'm not saying that you need to make yourself again in the shape of a Sandman, but yet how far are we in the understanding of ourselves? So what is the principle or the first matter that you need to basically build up that body that you call to inhabit or to experience as or through the existence of your life? What we see here on the beach is, if it is structure, it is a very loose structure. So that means that usually we are quite afraid if there is chaos or if there is something that we don't understand, and then there is not the structure that we recognize. So can you follow me to that picture? In many ways it's called the rabbit hole, the single 0-point singularity, where the here and now is defined as the center of these ring formation here. So there where there is nothing that defines you, but it is part of you. That is not created, but is capable of create all there is. Maybe it is truly the sight from within to the outside, the knowledge that is already in you, that inhabits you as a creation, as a part of all there is. So what would happen if you really reach that point where there is that first, that light, that hole that pulls your life inside you? If you combine the idea of literally letting yourself as the entity or the shape and the form go, it is helpful to use some symbols, or at least some figures or temporal tools that we have all learned in our lives, and they are all so old, very old. And so what if there is nothing else but just the present of the here and now, and your past and your future is just in the unknown? And right now, if we look closely, we see from the eye or the understanding of the today's mindset that we are literally laying in the mirror itself, because the mirror is made out of sand. So depending on where you find yourself as the player of the Sandman, you have access to understanding or to knowledge or even to wisdom if you applied that knowledge already. So would you believe me if I try to figure out if I can make chaos into a structure? Because I don't want to think about which all of these sand corns I need to collect to rebuild myself. I just trust if there is sand, it will work out. So what environment do you know? What are you actually, which climate is suitable to you? How much do you reply to cold or to heat? How do you sustain yourself? Now, as we found the breathing and the Sandman, we have one tool at land, but you can't barely do the Sandman in the water. So to put this into a way of, or a frame of reference, we have to tap into that state or this world or this dimension where there is no time and space. Some call it the dream time, the void, the universe, the deep space, the multiverse, you name it. But is there a use in the knowledge that you could basically put aside and...
Hey, Andreas, sorry, your voice is crashing. It's cracking. Maybe you have a connection problem. At least for me.
Okay, no, there should be no connection issue. Is it better now?
Can the other guys here confirm if it's only me?
For me, the voice is okay. There's no problem.
For me too.
So
Okay.
maybe it's my internet, sorry.
Or your ears, I don't know, Danilo. Let them check. No, I hope it's also bearable for you. We are going to literally back in time or into this place now where the sound also should be okay. And it will also be a travel into the mirror. So I hope you will follow me into this rabbit hole to basically uncover how you could make shape out of nothing and back. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, finally. We are doing this, and what it means to be done by the manifestation of my body and my consciousness, and what's my purpose, why I'm here. So I've been thinking about that for quite some time, and this is an introduction in my work, and I welcome you to join me in this yeah, there are many terms or words used to describe what can be done, and so I try to put it as simple as I could make it, so it would mean short terms, words aligned in order to make sense to everyone and everything, and that all at the same time. Meaning, in result, we are having this. So, if there would be one way of seeing existence, experience of life, all there is, one together, I would ask 5 questions: why, what, where, when, and how. That's my curiosity that drives me since I was born, and since then quite some time went into the lands, and so to answer why is because I love. To answer what is what I wish. To answer where is where I see. And when is when I comprehend it all together. And how it's been done is actually how you are, how I am. So coming back here, we have to travel. And we do that usually like that. We're not talking of light speed, but it's basically changing dimension and focus, especially focus of what we are aware of and are considering in the construction of the every single moment of here and now. And yet sometimes we have to pass the portal that changes all our understanding and comprehension of why we are here. So the question why I'm doing this, what I'm here to do, I think it's one question that many of us daily have coming into their minds, and let's try to let's answer it. And there might be as many answers that there are fractalized consciousness experiences in the shape of matter, considering a life form. And there's so much I would like to tell you all straight up in your face. So where should I start? Yeah, we were with the first question, why. So I obviously would like to demonstrate that I love to talk That's one thing. Why do I love to talk is well, it's free. It costs some energy, but it's very low energy consumption in regards to other things, and yet yeah, I mean, just one short excursion to who do I talk to. I mean, of course I'm streaming this here usually live, and so everybody could join me at the moment that I'm creating my life and teaching by that way how I see things, and how you could benefit, and how this makes the world a better place from the very moment of here and now. So yeah, the music is beautiful. It's quite dramatic, and I love that. And it's something like waves of water, like emotions, and it's like, yeah, the waves are in these melodic, dramatic scenes. It feels like there are waves, and so it's like water flowing over me all the time when I listen to this music. So that's that. Yeah, we're still recording. Good. So why? Okay, wait. Maybe we come back. Why back again a bit later when we go a bit more to the specifics of what. So why would I wish to share with you something that you might not have any interest in at all at this moment? So yeah, let me put it up that way in very short time. I wish for you to understand how you can become immortal, and through that understanding you will find peace, and when you find peace, everybody else will find peace. And through the vibration and resonance and blah blah and all the things that we might and can know of is sometimes helping, and sometimes it's hindering us to let go. And basically, yeah, this is the illusion, the greatest illusion, and it's put up in our sight every day and night. And so we have finally to step over that frontier of basically fear. And if you will have time to share and listen to my words in the upcoming future, I will soothe your soul with the knowledge that I figure day by day a bit better out how to align them to make sense in a peaceful and caring, loving way. So the thing is that I usually don't like hearing my voice on a recording, yet since I'm having those headphones on, it's quite comfortable. And so yeah, who do I talk to is basically I speak to myself, as if you create that loop of the thoughts and creating the word and the vibration in your throat and in your body, that is going to code you like a program. It's gonna make you feel in the ways the words have meaning and are aligned with. And if you speak in a more positive or constructive rather than in a destructive or abusive way of no matter what you're going to talk about. So yeah, I have just found another play tool, and yeah, maybe we can see that. Not so much yet. No, not really. So I can change the colors, the fields behind me. Yeah, that also has some knowledge in it. So I just want you to learn by seeing what I display, as this is the fastest way of learning. It's not a mind, well, okay, if you want to put it like that, it is like it also it's like a mind programming, but yeah, it's just colors in circles. So if you're afraid of that, yeah, good luck with that. So it's just colors and circles, and yeah, basically lights, and no voice, and nothing is happening to you, so you're totally safe. Oh yeah, that's a little bit better even. Yeah, so well, where were we? So what I'm doing is talking, and what could I share with you that is makes sense and is helping you in every single second in your life. Well, that is the intention, to share with you how you can deconstruct your body and your mind. So basically it's like a workshop, and the mechanic is going to put you into pieces and then build you back together with a car, and the body is your car, or the car is your body, or whatever you want to put it. So yeah, I wish you to understand that, and what does it means is, well, it's just too much to say in a couple of sentences. So we're gonna through a couple of different areas and imaginations, and so we will first have to regard our focus, how we see things, our perception, the awareness, what does it mean, how does it work, and so on. So whatever I'm loving to do, and the question is, since we are so familiar with the 3D reality, the question about where it would be, where I would like to see it. So that would confirm, or basically consider, the law of attraction or gravitational pull to every single center of fractalized existence, light source, soul, spark, star, source. So there's no actually then a true answer to where it is, because it could be everywhere or nowhere, but it's actually always now here. So let's go to the next point. When would it happen? When you comprehend what it means that energy flows or time passes in space, and therefore being connected to matter, as matter is defining space by its gravitational and magnetical field forces. So so there's a lot of plasma technology and understanding of the fundamentals of life itself. Now, how I'm going to teach you that is through the teachings of the wolf. It is the utmost importance to be. Actually, that's the answer, that I have to be. I am the teacher in what I'm doing. So yeah, maybe someone could ask me why I just start with that now and not earlier or whatever, since I already grow some hair in the face, and yeah, there are some gray ones. You can't see it right now, but well, it looks white or grayish anyways. So it means that I have to become the best version of myself, and by sharing what I'm doing, I'm basically speaking to the whole population of all my body cells, which most probably could be around 130 billions or something like that. No matter the amount of civilians or yeah, you know what I mean, like participants or members or cells or suns or souls or particles or plasmatic construction, manifestation, life flow in the container. Well, as you can see, it sometimes feels like a burden to know so much, and even, yeah, maybe I just imagine to know myself, to know that much. I actually don't care how you see it, because I have to see it for myself first. And so I decided to finally go public with all that. So since well, I'm not gonna explain you that, but you will see. For me, everything has to make sense in what I do, day by day, moment by moment. Since a couple of experiences where time was totally differently experienced in my life. So for me, time is not an obstacle. So basically, time, there is a part in me that knows that there is no time, and that's like the amen in the church, or it's like, it's just rock solid. And that spot where there is no time, there is no space, and yet how should that make sense in relation to what we can perceive as all there is? And yet, how much do we know ourselves? Because there is no light in our body, we basically can't look into ourselves with our eyes unless we cut ourselves open. But that's not what I mean. I mean, basically, how could we fly through our body in times of perception to observe and instruct cells to do the things they have to do? But we find out going through that way of thinking that it's not necessary to be done, as the body already regulates and works for itself. So we are here to be grateful to have this experience going on for every day anew, and every night anew as well. So yet there is in the sleep, the dream state, where a lot of us are having stories or experiences so vividly that they are basically afraid to go to sleep, and that starts all the dumbing, the numbing and the dumbing, and the drinking and the smoking, and all the things that basically pollute yourself to not perceive with that sensitivity anymore and that clarity. Basically, it shuts the curtain to the scene, so nobody could actually participate in the play anymore. And through this separation, or this imaginary scene of fear, and through this, yeah, sometimes it's referred to like a demon stopping you from to climb the mountain. So to see with clarity into the lands of your life, you need to climb the mountain so you can look down and observe everything around you. So yes, the demon is right in the middle of the way to the top, and he's making so many fearful and horrible charades, and he basically yeah, shows your true inner worst to yourself, because clarity cannot be irritated or abused through the presence of fear manifested in a demon that is yeah, basically more in charge than yourself, and therefore the climbing of the mountain would make no sense anymore. Yeah. So the primal fear of dying and yet losing people, and even if they are not dead, to feel separated, that's one of the big challenges. It is mostly caused to many things in regards of social unrest or unhappiness for everybody, and for many people. Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge in monetary system that how you can basically go cheap and still improve your life quality in so many ways. When we talk about the soul, that's how I see the soul. Yet you never will see yourself as that, because you are it, so you can't reflect antimatter. You can only reflect basically in a condition that a planet supports, either as a human, an insect, an animal, or a plant, or a stone, or other elements, or water, or whatever. So, but it's basically a set of game, or a set of rules to participate here on Earth, and yet somehow we are desperately looking for a solution for everything, where it's in general it's just bringing light into the dark, and if the light is very hot, it can burn you, and a lot of people need that burn as well. Yet it's not meant to burn, but shed the skin, and for some it is like a phoenix, like a bird dying in crashing into the earth and explode to be reborn as a firebird, and basically therefore immortal. And so we have a lot of stories in the past that are talking about exactly what I'm going to put into words, but my focus have been so far to put it into practical use, into the reality of all of us, no matter where you come from, what's your background, your education, or whatever. So it basically would help if you would have a clean sheet of mindset, but yet that's a piece of work to achieve, to put it nicely. So detachment in this regard, to paint a white picture or a black picture or no picture at all. Yeah, that's kind of meditation at its best. So, well, we were with the questions. Yeah. So why would I keep speaking? Is there nothing or anybody else I could do better at this very moment, instead here speaking? Now, well, if you ever wondered that people dare to question if there is an outside at all, but most importantly, it actually questions, or it puts up the question about our inside, because that's what we know, what we have, and every one of us is in control of, well, not in control, but it's basically what you are containing, and you carry it every day with you. And fuck, I'm freezing. 1 second. So, I just wanted to put you in the loop for one thing or another. Yeah, look at that when I'm during my absence. So, yeah, while you're watching this, I'm back. As you can hear my voice, of course. So, yeah, my only goal was to make it simple as possible, and therefore I looked into books and stuff and everywhere and online and you know, to find if there is no time, there is a solution somewhere. And that somewhere I found in so many ways in the story of the Oracle of Delphi. And maybe I put it too freely, but it was anyways helpful for me to understand the story of, I think it was a prophet that goes to a mountain and a mountain again. Maybe he had to face his demon to achieve to go to the top and ask the oracle anything. So in case the story goes that he asked something and he got the answer, but as a miracle. So he had to figure not as a miracle like a riddle. So he had to figure out what it was. What it meant to say to him as an answer to basically make him the solution. And yet today we seem to have so many issues and struggles in every part of our life, globally and even in space. So what is our intention to be? Because how would be the question, how you are. So how healthy basically you feel, how healthy in mind, how cared in emotional, in love, and in relationships, especially amongst people themselves. So of course relationships with animals could be as even stronger or the same strong. It doesn't really matter who's now stronger or not, but the thing is that how we relate to most probably the total opposite. And if we find ourselves in two genders like male and female or female and male, we have this split every day in front of our eyes, but we don't see it. And yet we struggle in most cases to see ourselves as equal beings, and therefore treating our next souls with lesser quality or just not the right way. So what does it mean, not the right way? I'm not judging anything or everybody. I would like to go the constructive way of showing the solution, which comes up into the story of Oracle. And so the story of the Oracle is the prophet and the mountain speaking to each other, which is nothing else than a dialogue. And so if someone is setting up a dialogue, writing it down, that it can be transferred into my mind, then the origin of both the problem and the solution had the same inventor, which means, again, if we can see ourselves as part of everything, it is most likely that we have the both opposites within ourselves, and yet not within ourselves only, but in the exterior world as a reflection, as a fractalization, as another dimension of exactly this manifestation of the total split, or opposite, as female and male, black and white, but also tall and small, and you know, all like the as opposite it could be, 9 and 1, and or 1 and 0. It's basically just totally different, but the same in the origin, because it doesn't really matter who is the 0 or the 1. It can be interchanged at any moment. So now that would mean that we basically could change our gender at will in no time, if we would need to, or if we would love to. And yet we go more into the, well, I don't want to talk about that. So it's just what I mean. We have the two brain sides, which on the left side is your male side, and on the right side is your female side. And to understand this duality, we struggle a lot. So that's why we still have wars and all those injustices and bad treatments, abuses, mostly in so many cases. Yeah. So how can we bring balance into the world? And if there must be something that I can share with you, it must be balance at first. And so, yeah, what does it mean? What does it have to do with the story of the oracle? It basically means that the oracle would be able, as an entity, to answer every single one question that could be asked in front of the oracle itself. So how can an oracle be prepared for that kind of task in life as a mountain? Yeah, you could say it could be quite a long time. So yeah, so we need to know who or what the oracle actually is, and if the oracle is part of everything and we are part of everything, guess what? So we might share a part with the oracle too. So if it's in ourselves, we can find it. If it's outside of ourselves, it's quite unlikely, because it could be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And so for you, it's like a hide and seek game, but that's actually the game that is played in quite some big space that I can imagine. I can't tell you where it ends, but well, yeah, that's how it is in my perception of reality. So yeah, the oracle basically is now a tool that I put together, or I imagine that I was behind it for some time. But actually I was thinking about it quite some time, years now, and maybe more than a decade. And so here it is. Oh well, Jesus, I have it here. Yeah. There you go. So where should I start? Let's start with the picture that's the easiest. There is like a body, but it's the blue shape is like a holographic. Then we have this orange highways and lanes and stuff. That it's about I don't know, the bones and muscles and whatever. Basically, it means, okay, you are not as dense as you imagine yourself to be. So, what does it mean? The healthier you are, the more alkaline you are, because you're less dense and you breathe with the atmospheric environment of yours, in a energetical plasmatic exchange. if you pollute your filter body like a SpongeBob with alcohol, for example, but it's not at any part of your body, so it's not your origin, so it's let's say a foreigner, or like could be something that is not in peace with you, but actually that depends on how you can see it. Yet smoking, the pollution of the lungs, to heat up the heart, not in all the best ways advisable. Well, for my part speaking, I've been there and I've done that, so yeah, both. Okay, so the oracle, I just want to put it as well. Again, wait, one very easy imagination to make it usable, to don't spend too much time with it. So it's like a mindset, it's like a operating system, or like a program that you can use in terms of needs. So if I put everything into the first letter of the oracle, like the O would also represent like a mirror, as it is basically hugging one field, or it's embracing one field in this circle shape. So in this circle there would be 9 numbers, from 9 to 1, in this order to make it more fancy. I don't know why I did it. It makes some sense sometimes, but whatever, just take it as it is. 9 6 7 4 8 2 5 3 1. And yet every other page on this board is so like 6 times. It's like a translation, or like a it's like a translation into another perception. So if you take for example number 1 is on the very top of the left side. It's like the points and the search. If you can read it, it means so what are you looking for? So you put in the thing that you need, the problem, the solution, whatever. So you want to know something, put it into a question and put it there. Then you would go, that is actually like the dynamic system. So you will either the solution is that you can find where the problem is, or what the problem is to resolve, to let go of, is that you need to reflect yourself. And this reflection is fractalized in these 9 parts. And if you can go from 1 to 9, or from 9 to 1, you will basically see the bigger picture in the mirror, and then you will see what is wrong with you, or if there is anything wrong with you at all, so, or with the situation that you're dealing with. So number 2 would be as a relationship. We are still on the top left corner. So what does the problem, the problem, or the term, the thing that we are going to make an example quite after we are having gone through those numbers here. It's not that many. I just want to make it easy, and you need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, it would not make sense to you. So number 3 would be apply to body, mind, and spirit. What does it mean? In terms of an issue that is occurring in your life, you need to apply that issue to what would it be if it would be in your body, on your body, or in your mind, or why would it be part of your spirit that makes it manifest in front of you, or in your body, or in your mind, and so on, causing issues. After number 3, we would go to number 4, which would be the level where you let yourself be guided by your heart. Yes, the number 4 is the heart. So we have 4 chambers in the heart, and this thing that we call blood, and is red, and contains iron and oxygen and a lot of other stuff. This is basically the emotion, the energy in motion circulating through your system, and through that you basically keep your soul grounded to the earth. We will go into all the numbers in detail with every other page if you would like to, and yeah, since that's my program, I'm going to do that. So we go to number 5 for the moment. Reflect your thoughts and damn it, it's too small. 1 second. Reflect your thought and habits. Follow your sensations. Yes. Yeah, of course, I don't need to think about it because I made it. I wrote that stuff down. So number 5 is the senses. Basically reflect where your senses, where you're addicted to, basically. What are you doing like mechanically with your body most of the time during the day? How are you doing it? What do you put into your body, of course? But mostly the 5 senses, so hear, smell, taste, hear, smell, taste, feel, and what did I miss? 5 senses. Do we have 4, 5, 6? Yeah, it will come to my mind later on, most probably. So yeah, but no, 5 senses they must be. That's why it's number 5. And yeah, follow your sensations, because that's quite showing you where you put your spotlight on whatever it is. So number 6 would be then that is consumed through the number 5s, or yeah, through the senses, which is energy, and that is most famous known as sex itself, which is the most energetic force that drives us nuts, or crazy, happy, whatever. So what drives you? It's very small. I can make it bigger. I'm stupid. Okay, 1 second, like that. Yep. I can't read it. I need to see the original, I guess. But it something emanates, energy radiates out. Yeah, so the energy is either going into yourself or it's going out to yourself. Again, we are going back to number 2 in this case to see the basic principle, because energy is more easily seen in the simpler environment. Otherwise it's just actually hidden. Number 7, how does nature solve it? In another picture we would have number 7 to top left right corner. That would be here. The flower of life has a harmonic imaginative picture for us to put into our minds to see what I mean by is there, and therefore a flower of life, a flower of nature, and you know it. So how does nature solve it? Is there actually, since we know that nature puts itself into balance all the time, how does nature solve this issue? And can we use it or replicate it in our human life? Number 8 is to remember that you are a transformer, and there is no time. Basically, either is there time, and if there is time, that you are a transformer. So otherwise there is no time and everything together, and therefore there is no problem for you. So it anyways means something good to all of us, that it means it never ends. Well, now it's the question if it's heaven or hell or something else, but usually we want to escape if there is some kind of evidence to leave the scene. So let's make it a happy place and not a spot where you don't want to be. So number 9 would be then the change itself. It's the last number before it goes back to 0, or the big picture, and so therefore it's some sort of resolution. We're very familiar with TV sets and screens, and all these screens have a sort of resolution, and this resolution is making the picture more beautiful. You could put it like that most easily. And what would it mean? It means that the picture would be more aesthetic, fine, ornamented, just kind of more beautiful, less abstract, more complex, of course, in many cases, I guess. So to see the big picture basically means to leave the spot that you are actually at and to become mobile with your soul. And that means to let go and trust, because resolution means you're going back to the sun, which is you're going back to your soul. And your soul is the place where there is no time and no space, and so that's why it's antimatter, you can call it, or some, just, it's not as casual as matter as we perceive matter. And yet there is in every single smallest particle of matter, there is a fracture, a fractal of a star, a light inside. So we basically dance in light crowds, covered in coats and dresses that try to, like this lamp over here. This one, it's actually meant to show what I mean by a light in a mantle, in a coverage, in a hiding. So well, yeah, if you manage to let go and trust, you will arrive at the big picture, which is, yeah, the big picture. So you could see from the top of the mountain back down wherever you want, closer to the stars and so on. Yeah, teacher of abundance. So when you see the big picture, you know where you fit in, like in a big puzzle. You know your role, you know what you do, but not that you have to do it, but that you enjoy doing exactly those things, no matter how simple or how stupid they might be. Yet we reflect ourselves, and if we are truly honest with ourselves, we will see that not always we are looking at the picture that we would like to see. So I will have to go to serve some beers. Yeah, what does it say if I'm a waiter? Yeah, here's just once again the words put into like a net, and then we have here some symbols, like this would be number 1, the exclamation mark, something is, and then the question mark will be what's the solution? So 8 would be the light to see it all, back then and back in the future and the here and now. So in a harmonic way it needs to be done, because otherwise it could not be immortal.
or balanced. And what did we do now? I know that was energy. Yeah, energy. Yeah, energy needs to be balanced again. That was good. So the flower of life 7, we have the yin and yang as a 2D symbol. Number 8, the immortal construction of the antimatter circling and containing matter, and antimatter in rings or spheric. It's basically the fractalization of the one. We have number 5 here, which is meant to represent the senses. We have number 3, which is the ankh, soul, mind, body. If you bring your soul into the body through your mind, you can recreate yourself. You can multiply yourself by making a child. So 1 would be all. So we split the mirror basically in the beginning. We reconstruct what is wrong. Everything is one mirror. Then we have number 2, we split the mirror into 2 pieces. 1 is white, 1 is black. Number 3 would be the family. We put a third piece out of the split 2. Yeah, and treat everyone as equal, as a third, 1/3 of each. That's the family. Number 4 would be the core, the heart. Number 5, the senses. Number 6, the energy. Number 7, harmony. 8, infinity. 9, resolution, and 0. Or the mirror would be the point, because a mirror could be as very small as very big. Would be hard to tell. So what are you looking for? It would be the solution. What is that? Yeah, number 2. What is chaos? So what is the imbalance basically? So is what is you don't control, or what is it that you don't comprehend? Number 3 would building the unknown. You have no idea, but you will do your best to make a family. Why would you do that? Because everybody else is doing it. That's maybe what we are here to do. What are your building blocks? Give and take are radiance and attraction. Yes. So if we give something, we turn to the left. We send to the. It's just a left turn. A left spin of your energy field, and if you receive or take, it's turning the opposite to the right way into yourself, or if it's magnetic into your left, it's going out. So you receive with your left hand and you give with your right hand, and yeah, so you will send out, and basically you will get in what you already have, or that's what you're playing to yourself. So become aware and change what you don't want to be in you, and then it will resolve as well in the outside. This can't be done forcefully. It can be done, of course, but it always will figure out how it serves the universe the way it's meant to be, whatever it means. So 10 more minutes. Number 5, what is attracted to you? What is attracted to you? Repetition involves death. Death to curiosity and death to change. Yet it is the thing that we most seek every day, security in so many ways, financially, energetically, emotionally, physically, you name it. So now number 6 is what forces you to experience. So what drives you basically? Where do you come from, and why you're doing that? What you're doing with the energy, which is the term of everything that you are while you're running the system, the avatar, or however you want to call it. Tell me of your funny moments. Tell me about the funny moments in your life, and you will see. In terms you're a bit shy to do so, I'm gonna share with you, of course, some. Yet, if we are shy to share our darkest secrets or the deepest, whatever, hidden, maybe shameful things, it's gonna stay there, and it's basically gonna attract the same thing again. So you need to let it go, and then you can choose how you perceive everything else. Number 7, there are others. How do they do it? Yeah, just try to see how you could harmonize you and your habits and your senses and your drives and driven moments, and how does it all make sense to you still? I mean, it's quite a big picture or a beautiful flower, but it needs to be in order, and that order is the structure that you make yourself, and it doesn't need anything basically, because if you want to have a structure, it defines by wanting to have a structure that there means to be no structure somewhere else too, and that will be then the chaos. It's like if you have a villain, you need to have a hero, and if you need to have a hero, you need to have a villain as well. So it's the necessary evil, it's referred to sometimes, but we are not gonna go into duality here, because we are way beyond that. We are about 10 different things here, not 2. Number 8, there is that saying here and there that it was always like that. It's always been like that. But what is evolution then? Yes, if there is no change, and then evolution is just with the animals, but not with humans, or what? So if it always was like that, then it's now time to change. Not because evolution needs to be true, but in terms of that you are in charge of what you do, and if everybody does that and sees the same big picture of themselves playing a role in that game, in the puzzle of life on the ocean. And so to number 9, let's take a look at your resolution. Am I a computer? Where is home? No. Am I a computer? The resolution again is if you have like 2 eyes, like we all mostly hopefully have, you see a picture, and this picture is already high resolution, it's beyond HD and blah blah 4K and stuff. So and it's dynamic and so on. And what I mean is, what are the spots that you are blind, that you can't see through? Where are the unresolved pieces of the puzzle that are not there yet, or you can't see to fit in, or that you don't see them at all? So if you can zoom out, you will find the way to back to the solution through number 9. 0 would be where is home, and the answer would to be that would be you already know. Every single one of us knows what I'm doing here is wasting my time, literally. Not only, but it's a joke. I mean, it's not wasting my time. It's what needs to be done, even it doesn't make sense for you, but it makes quite a relief for me to know that, okay, I don't need to carry that because it's now reality what I speak, and you can create good and bad like that, and I will do my best to guide you in bringing you back to the path or the street or the road, the tour that you are taking, that you are all about to do sooner or later anyways. And I won't stop at the moment where everything stops in the physicality. So this is not a desk prepper desk course or something like that. It's more like a relief of pain, of restrictions, and opportunities to activate through knowledge, through application of the knowledge, which is most important, to practice, not to think about it all the time, but just to see, and if it is true, does it make sense, all the 10 points, does it help me in my life or not? But I can just tell you, I went up and down to the numbers, and whatever problem I put up, I could solve it. So we maybe we just gonna put some sessions up with running some examples. So yeah, that's a good final word, I would say, since 30 minutes I have to work. And yeah, so you've seen the oracle in this picture. If you know how to give you every answer you need, then you can't blame anyone else than yourself. And now you know that you are in charge of either actually making this the problem or the solution every single moment of here and now. Yeah, so I remain with best regards. I will come back. I love you all. Thank you.
So I hope you're still with me. So I have to correct myself. There was basically looking into the mirror for 30 months back, not just 18. Hopefully there are some questions that we could pick up. But before we do this, I would like you to meet our support today. And this support is coming as usual from the animal kingdom. And today we meet number 50, or the alligator. And this one is going to share with us how we can digest all the knowledge, not just that one, just every single one, and how we can integrate in general. Alligator, let me drop my judgments, accepting life with grace, so that forlorn care and worry will vanish from my face. Let me integrate each moment, digesting life with ease, counting all my experiences as equal opportunities. The powerful gift of alligator medicine is to fully appreciate and integrate all that life offers. Gator shows us the value of thoroughly digesting both the pleasures and the pains in life. In many ways, alligator's medicine is reflected in its behavior. When Gator rolls under the water with its prey, its message is to roll with the punches when being attacked by life circumstances. Carefully storing its prey under a log until the meat is tender teaches us about patience and the proper timing. Choosing to laugh when tangled in your own seriousness can immediately diffuse the stranglehold of anger and judgments, self-importance and inflexibility. Once your rigidity is removed, you are free to again integrate the present set of circumstances, finding what you may have formerly overlooked. Then you can learn Gator's lessons on how to digest the value of any life lesson. Gator medicine people refrain from passing judgments until they have examined all the facts and seen all the sides of any situation. It may be time to drop opinions and judgments so that the present situation can be fully understood. Gator might surface in the river of your life to tell you to digest the situation at hand before making any rash moves. You could also be dealing with someone who is too serious or rigid. If this is the case, embrace your flexibility, knowing that you are expanding beyond your former limits, even if others are wallowing in their self-created quicksand. Have you ever been rushing through life and not taking the time to count your victories or to digest your rites of passage? If so, it could be time to honor your progress, mindful that quick fix solutions do not support long-term goals. Avoid getting stuck in the duality and quagmire of the human judgment game. Use calm resolve, review your healing process and life lessons, integrating the growth that you have attained. In all cases, Gator is telling you that something may have escaped your perception. Ask yourself what viewpoint or possibility did not get factored into your assessment. Did that missing piece in the puzzle keep you from having an accurate overview of what is now occurring? If so, it is never too late to re-evaluate the situation from a more integrated and flexible point of view. Remember, Gator's eyes are nostrils, and nostrils are often the only parts of its body above water while it senses its surroundings. Gator integrates all probabilities before it moves. Contrary, alligator often signals a time to laugh in the face of conflict in order to survive. If Gator's belly is floating exposed on the top of the water, it could mean that rash actions or thoughtless words have put you in jeopardy. Gator treacherous jaws warn you not to fall prey to quick fix solutions or schemes. If contrary, Gator's bite has severed an artery that fed your life force, a band-aid will not cure your present situation. Integrate stable, long-term solutions and options. If you have become inflexible or judgmental, detach from the muddied thinking or clouded feelings that have imprisoned your progress. In all cases, Gator reminds you to scan more than the surface, integrating all possibilities, potential risks, unexpected outcomes, and ultimate rewards. If you integrate all these viewpoints, it becomes easier to roll over and come out on top. After all these words, those sounds, remember that the connection to the present here and now is always in the flow when we breathe. So what do we learn when we breathe like the planet itself? When the waves, the tidal waves, become your airwaves in your body, they flush every single corner with oxygen inside of you. And oxygen is what we mainly need to make it water. So how dry do you really get here on the beach ever? Have you understood the lessons from the water? Do you know yourself enough to sustain in a new environment? Much like in teleportation or space travel, circumstances, environments, surroundings might change drastically. So where do you feel home? Can you arrive in a peaceful or in a needy state? How do you contain yourself amongst the traveling? So maybe some of you have already seen this circly image, which wants you to show the way out to view, starting from just you are being yourself. So before you do anything in any order or in any relation to numbers, people, entities, elements, you just know, you need to know that you are. So the breathing is what holds you here on the planet. It is the connection, like the handshake, to the bigger picture. And yet when we are here, we start to think what we could do or what we have to have in the forest system or in the furthest point away from ourselves. That's where we don't see ourselves anymore, that we contain all there is. So wanting something that is not there with you yet, how real is it truly to you? This first circle around this B means that you are the zero. Through you and through in and throughout you is already enough. Of course you need to fit into the picture, but where do you relate your point of references to? Is it the government? Is it you as a government to your cell community, a population that is always coming and dragging and doing with you whatever you choose to. And for starters, have you noticed your breathing, that it changes through the emotional states depending on the situation you're facing? So what if the first thing that can go wrong is with the breathing? So imagine yourself, you have a give and take balance with the air. You would have survived easily without any support in the air, in the ocean. Our challenge will not be anymore how to make air or how to get air, because we are in the air state. Our next challenge will be, can we sustain or keep ourselves, creating ourselves in a dry state? Where do we get our supplies from? So how do we connect? And yet there is the breathing. So how could life be very difficult when we are not aware of how we are breathing? And depending on the supply or the saturation of your body, you're either light or more heavy. So if we go back to our today's situation, where we literally want to put ourselves into the ground and become the beach, or become a compilation, a gathering of particles made out of stone or silica and oxygen, or they call it dioxide, but it's just air. So in the moment we can let ourselves go, what is the beginning, or what is the core of all there is? Did you pick this one to start with? Or does it make more sense for you? Here you can put stuff inside. Here you have to give out at first. So you basically know what you can give outside. And in this state, how could you discern or basically just see what's going or coming inside? Because you are so big and receiving. We all were playing, hopefully, for some time in the environment of a sandbox when we were very little. So we know basically how the sand is holding together, at least for some time. And yet we know we have already the water inside. So there is always that light, that oxygen, and then that heavy part that we find now in so many pieces just below us. And let's look a bit closer. So which is which? Are you there? Can you see yourself? Can you accept yourself? as just one of the many? Or do you need to be this pyramid shape in the middle? That one that overreaches everything. And yet maybe this pyramid is just the top of the iceberg, and it's not meant to just show itself, but be in synchronicity with the water pyramid you see a little bit in the background. So do we see relationship, or do we just see separation? Which leads us ultimately to the question, how can we basically pull us together or spread us onto the beach? And after you became the beach, you are again that kid that pulls itself back together out of the sand into form and shape. So how can we train to be in this shapeless state? The shapeless state is not more of a separation, but more of a fusion of being with all that is, all there is. So becoming one with the ocean through the breathing, not only the ocean of the water, but also through the relaxation of the beach, so the ocean of the sand, and yet integrating or becoming part of the air ocean that is all above us. Can you see that fusion that you are making, or at least making yourself believe it is real, when there is just sand? In this introduction video with the creation of the Sandman, we got a glimpse of how it could work. Yet what could be the reason to basically take this position of becoming like a golem or a Sandman literally? My intention here is in another picture to show you how the environment is created, and you are also the environment to the other environment. So the Mr. Kohan here laying on the beach is not so much different from everything around. It looks that way, but in pieces it's not that much different. Water to water, sand to sand. What's left? That is already there, but we can't see. And so if we would like to change any shape or form as ourselves, we need first to accept the state we actually are. As long as we are going back into the past or into the future, we hold ourselves in the more or less unchangeable, because we already know which direction our lives is supposed to go. So we need to become totally flexible, very much like a dark hole, or if you can imagine yourself to be just a liquid mirror. Everything that stands in front of you, you recognize as a reflection. And the more we understand each other as a reflection of ourselves, the more we understand how we can treat, or we should treat, ourselves. So the sand particles will come back because they love to stay with you again as a Sandman, not because it's just fancy to do so. But what if they say, okay, no, we stay here at the beach, do what you want, but we stay here, we are not going anywhere with you, with your behavior, whatever you are doing in life. So do you see that we have to first be fine, okay, but just accept how it is. It is good or bad. This is just the casual issue we have always in the duality. And so from the state of the many to go to that state of one, it literally means how you can basically achieve that fusion that holds you together. And it always was like that. So you could be anything or anyone, but you just have to be that one thing. If you want to change, of course, you are not happy in that one state. So the beach helps us here to really see that if we see ourselves as out of sand built in the nowhere, because the beach doesn't know where it just is. So how do you build yourself anew? How do you regenerate? How do you literally put yourself into pieces of sand and then recreate? Can you probably see that the relationship of this question is a deal with the Mother Earth? So the car that you're driving is hers. It's the particles that is from her storage. She's supporting us, she's carrying us. And if we are aware and allow ourselves to see what is really wrong, is it the environment or the environment of the environment? So do you give back what you received? Or are you just cultivating your own thing as long as it's possible, doable? Always looking through the matter or as matter into the world. So recognizing yourself as already part of a bigger picture, and the change is constant, will bring you peace in the moment you think you are in hell. The moment you think you are in heaven, maybe not so much. Yet what does it really need for you to discern all the time if the situation is good or not good enough? So, with the dream state of the Sandman, when we saw the colorful mirror, in this zero, if we put it a bit sideways, it can become a portal. And so then it's just like a tube. To make it a bit longer, so things can go through. We could also say it's almost like a container if we just watch it in a 2D perspective. So it can contain something. Here it goes through, and here it embraces something. So maybe it can also fall through, then it's just temporary. When you imagine yourself going, and we will go to the jungle, if you go to the jungle without any tools, weapons, food, whatever, any preparation at all, how would you react when you hear something, when you see something that might be already hungry for you? It will be most definitely some sort or state of fear that you will have. And if you are afraid of the environment, what will the environment as a mirror reflect back to you? Of course, another fear. So if there is a confrontation or a meeting in any ways, it might not end well for you because you are afraid. You are not at home in the jungle usually. So if we have a mirror or a dark portal or a black hole, something that is just not known because it is hidden in the black, it doesn't mean it is bad. It is just not visible. And yet through that undefined state of not manifest, not visible, it is like a door. So the moment you have the door, you can open and close it. What can you open and close in or as you? And yet if you remember, what if the entry or the passing through that portal is as tiny as a keyhole? We will face the situation that we better become a particle of the wave or the particle that gets somehow exactly through that hole. Now let's integrate that. You are also a door. Maybe not for yourself, but for others. So the more you become loose in the state of possibility and not for yourself, but more so how you can support or be in service to the bigger picture as a worker of the planet or as a contributor or a co-creator to the bigger, even bigger picture. It also means that you are in connection within. Because what you feel here is what shines out. So do you see the heart, the world outside, or do you see this? In the moment you are the Sandman and you basically spread yourself, you dissolve into the bigger picture that you are creating. Become that star. And that star that we saw in the video changes all the colors in very short time and constantly. Do you remember this one? That constant flickering star is on the very top left corner. So to bring you up to speed to land in the orbit, or basically to reach orbit, the potential lays here right in front of you. Maybe you can grow just a little bit more to touch it. So I try to give you the tools that help me in many ways. Maybe not in the way that you just have in mind, but that what I call the oracle, or that is also here in that green spherical shape. That is the potential of the consciousness that inhabits you, that you are. So changing literally the shape from that little kid or whatever shape you would be to become that ever-changing star. It needs you to loosen that what you call the body or that matter connection. So who tells you or guarantees you that you will be exactly the same when you come back? In case you would achieve that loosened state or that where you could go everywhere and through everything. So again, the mirror will help you here. Because if you can accept yourself as a mirror that goes through different states and you stop judging yourself, you keep the potential of running the reflection all and all and all over again. In the moment you are not happy with yourself, you see yourself in a fixed position to the environment. So if you can become flexible as that flickering star, that is not even matter, but consciousness nevertheless, the soul is free to basically recreate another car on another system. And yet you will just be invited if you are friendly. Otherwise the planet will not let you go. So you need to see the bigger picture of basically where you're playing at today, yesterday, tomorrow. And if we don't do it right here on the place, it means we don't do it right to ourselves as the body. There is an abundance of everything here on the planet, and yet we have, through the teachings of Mr. Kesh, the opportunity to basically tap into this abundance, and yet there is a little hook on this. It is not dense, or it is not matter state, or not as much matter as we have or would like to have it. So through going not only at the beach, but put yourself in a way that brings you peace is literally meant that it puts yourself into pieces. So it's the car in the workshop that gets put into pieces, and then the things that are not meant to be there, they are let go from the system. So when we have the soul in the center, the density of the magnetical force, the field strength, is how much you give to yourself or to you as a creation. And now the you is just another eye in the mirror. So if you can see that the planet gives in uncomparable ways much, much more than just a simple human, you have another bar to measure you or you as yourself in terms of service to the all there is. So can you shine enough to basically support life wherever you go because you choose life? So you can make from one the many and from many the one. Do you see here the conflict, the irritation, or is it just a state of movement and replication of the all one. Maybe this will help to get a bit more clarity in today's topic. So if you imagine yourself to build a sand castle or a sand pyramid, you clearly know that every part of this pyramid will be the same, no matter what. So it is in the top as one seen as a pyramid. If you cut it in two, it looks like a split pyramid. And yet every single split of this that goes down more into complexity or diversity is coming from the same seed, the same origin. So the older you get, the more diverse your body seems to show itself. And when we age, we go shrink a little bit back, usually. But what if this scenario is just the playground of the sandbox? So the giving and the receiving is always at your hand. Now, what is your point of reference? Is it your body or is it the other, not body? Which is connecting the two together that you can accept yourself as one. In the moment we believe what other people say, so we integrate whatever is thrown at us, we have to ask ourselves, is it really part of us? Be it food, be it emotion, whatever is happening, is it really part of you, or do you see yourself in that image? So the more you put yourself to the test, first in the digestive system, the more you have to go through, literally. And yet if you see, or if you know already that you're holding hands with others, literally we are fed from the environment all the time. So do you see that we have the same childhood, adulthood, elderlyhood, whatever? But this is not just a line from 0 to 100 and then that's it. So what does it mean to you when the situation goes literally to the 0 point? Does everything stop there, or is it just the door to another beginning? Do you see the portal within you, or do you see just a hole that needs to be fed? And who is going through the portal and who not? Can you put all together and fuse, or do you always need to separate? Imagine the state where you have just like a skin, everything inside that skin is light. You don't need to worry about any organ or whatever is in there, because you know it's just that one and it's light. So there is no need for complexity, but the source of all complexity is that light. So the more at ease you are, the more clarity you can bring to yourself through the light you carry within you. Matter is in so many ways to see like sunglasses. So the more filters or more sunglasses you put on and all over your place as the body, the less connection you will see to the light. So to multiply, many people know, at least in the matter state. But do we truly know the big picture in this regard? What if the two are already within you, and so you are capable to basically just switch the state? Form is just like a car you're driving. And if that form could become just as simple as a zero, and yet the zero remembers us to the others, the opposite, because zero is not a number, so that what tells us the numbers. Have we ever understood what it means to be all one together from the principal school? Have we faced infinity as 8, so it always stays the same? If you have a lucky hand, maybe you like that state. But if others would not be so lucky, how would be infinity for them? Do you see the opposition, or do you see the potential of the fusion of the two ones in the two to make a third or a fourth? And yet you need to have a heart to guide the two to make a three. So to contain the knowledge and not always to have to think about it, which would make you also crazy. This is why I put this in a zero or into an O state, that mirror that we heard so many times. So I give duality into the picture, or I see it as one part of the bigger picture and see it as a totality. When I meet someone from somewhere else we haven't seen or heard ever from, can we apply the family principle to the foreigner, to the stranger? And do we see that when we are just watching 10 hours of TV or video games or whatever it is, that you might just abuse one of your senses a little bit too much to sustain a balance? So the random adjustment here of the numbers basically just wants you to show that if you have no imagination between or after what you have in the principal school, this is just nothing that shows you. It will remain in the unknown. But if you can imagine the circle around it, you would be able to contain whatever these numbers or this structure, or at least this idea of a structure would mean. So, do you see yourself into or through that mirror? And therefore you are aware of what you are doing, what you are thinking, what you are literally. And maybe you are really this. The hide and seek dance of the soul and the matter. And so if we have met, if we know ourselves at a certain point or limit, are we willing to share that truth? Are we aware of the next 7 generations when we act, when we speak? And what does it mean? Is it just the 7 generations for everyone else? Or it may be a cycle that goes 7 times also for yourself? So I don't know, maybe some of you or maybe all of you are already aware of what I call the oracle. And yet I would like to put it to the test sooner or later, if it didn't work out yet. If I show you this overview here again, you don't need to go through everything yet, but try to put it at least for a test run and see if you can go through the ladder down and up, if you like, or literally in a different perspective, if you can accept yourself in the mirror. In space we don't have the supply of your local grocery store or whatever barbecue. So to contain what you are, or to still be whatever it means to be you, will be the challenge. So you need to know that you are containing already something. Otherwise you will see yourself as a black hole that needs to be fed. So whatever issue or problem that you might face, I want you to put it here in the first line, the top left corner. That is what you're looking for. Then you put the total opposite next to it and you have the 2, like we just had in the other diagram here. Let's see if I can show you both at the same. Not sure if it's the right way what I want to show. Okay, so in the first place, the one that will be the thing that you're looking for. And if you're looking for it, it already means you try to see if it is a part of the bigger picture. Yet if you haven't found it, and so therefore is the challenge, you put the total opposite of what you're looking for next to it. So if it is white that you're looking for, you put here black and white. And the more you have to be reflective, and in a way you have to go slowly, because it really means, do you treat in a family state everyone the same way? And usually we know that for at least the children, they are treated as children, whatever that means. Imagine the world where whichever being is here on the planet is treated exactly the same way. So does it apply to you and you, what you remember of your life experience? Or is it not applicable to the past, but maybe for the future? So accept whatever you are today, and then let go that it needs to remain that way. So it's the waves in the ocean, but it's also the wind. They are always singing of the flow, but we don't see it or hear it that way. And so if the wind is maybe a bigger picture of the totality, it shows us that we already know how to connect to the plasmatic field states. So can yourself let go of what you think you are, that you could be carried away by the wind? In the future workshops we will go more into applying whatever this lingua internum means now for you. Because if you put intention behind this generalistic way of putting numbers just next to each other, but the main key here to see is that between every of these numbers there is that black bar, and that black bar is that state of the zero or the portal. Maybe someone can already see something computer language in here, but it's not about computer language here. It just means that every single one of these here, the totality, they might look like 9, but in the fractalization of itself, it is the same as on the top. They call it stem cells. It's somewhere in the, or in or around the spine, where they are being produced. So in that moment where we have those cells that are able or capable to become whatever is in need or what needs to be done in the body, and then they go for it, they do it, this flexibility or this shapeless or not fixed position yet is what we want to achieve after we have understood that there is a benefit when we can see each other as the same. You can't be sick when you see and feel yourself as one healthy being. And so the breathing and the waves bring you the oxygen to that level and to these regions where there needs to be oxygen, to generally make your basis as that machine. And yet you have not to think as a machine, but to let go of that control system, of that structure, become shapeless. I want you to understand that either you are this one, or this one, or this one, or even that one, or this one, or something like this. Doesn't really matter, because everything here can change from one state to another. If you know that every one of these can be the same or is the same, if you allow yourself to see it. So imagine yourself next time how long the road would be to make yourself confident that you can literally fix yourself in no time. Or do you need to believe the story that you need to go to the hospital and everything, blah blah blah, so that you can heal or regenerate in the time frame that you have already known and heard of? If we accept the incapability, that's what we get. If we allow ourselves let go of that what we accept as for the now, because we know that the now is always different. We put it into the flow, and therefore we accept and we allow the change to happen. No one is holding you back but the one that is looking into the mirror, that is always you. So how do you get access to those stem cells, you might ask? Maybe this is just a principle of how it could work, but maybe there's an easier way. Okay, so there was a lot of information, a lot of stories, and I would like to ask, we have quite a group of people already here, so if there is anything that you would like to talk about it right now, or if there is a question to what the O or the Oracle is capable of, this part of you, or do we just go and digest and lay back for a while and stay with the crocodile, the alligator? Okay, I see that Galip already had a question. Hi Galip, are the rites a preparation for the Mozhan? So yes, that what I call rites of passage, it's an old term. It's not fresh or new. It basically means everything goes in cycle, and so if you apply the knowledge of the cycle, you know that what goes around comes around, and therefore you become more and more aware of your reflexive state. That means in so many ways, yes, the spin or the loop or the border of the container, if you will, it's in a cycle, in a cyclic way to perceive. So that's why it's, you can take the habits for most of the people. So when we have habits and we apply them for a very long time, it's hard to get off those habits, whatever it is. Because we're so used to, we get so adjusted to this convenience or whatever, it gets more easy and easy, but also more boring and boring. And so the right means basically to change from literally to, let me show you that like this. You always see these drawings of those circles, be it full or not. So when we can see that this one here is also a circle, but it goes like this, and so that's why it's perceived as a ring structure from above. So when we look in what is going around here, this is also like a tunnel, if you like. And therefore, if you go left, it goes a little bit different than to the right, but it's always your conscious or your aware choice of where you would like to go. So the balance of these will then be the radiation that is just vibrating out of your system, like the heart, the heartbeat. So in water, this heartbeat travels further than, or at least easier noticeable to different states or further distances than on land. So basically the right here is in two ways. It's basically becoming aware of what this means here and also here. And yet it is different if it is, because this one here is like a border in this area, if you like to take this one. But to basically adjust or to grow or to contract and decontract, this is what it means to fit through the keyhole, if you like. So you're too large here and you're just maybe a little bit too small, but still fit through the keyhole. So everything that goes around in many ways of combinations of these circulations is repetitive, and therefore is key or you know, it's what is defining, because it's that flow of energy that is self-creating itself. So I hope I can answer this question with that.
Thank you. And hello, Andreas. Thank you for the beautiful session today. This is Galip from the Netherlands.
Hi, Galip. Thank you very much.
I have many more questions and things that pop in my mind, of course, but as you say, the alligator, we should digest it and integrate it a bit more before I come up with everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe for next time, but I'll see. Thank you.
I'd love to. Yeah, thank you very much. Stephanie was also adding, at the Monroe Institute, you can learn out of body experience. I think I know what you're talking about. There will be something like it's called hemisync. We will just go into that a little bit further. For those that are very curious already, hemisync is a term that they call to balance your brains, your left and right side. It's basically you hear one tone on the left and a little bit different. Yes, the gateway experience. So you have two tones, one on the left and one on the right ear. And what you actually do as an entity, you create the middle tone in between. You need to adjust at a certain frequency or a difference between the left and the right, and then you are not able to basically hear the difference, and so that's why you fuse them together. And so this will be another exercise, or basically part of what you can train yourself. And yeah, the ocean you might find again there. So that's a little bit out of the box talking here. Yes, we don't need to go for another course. Stephanie, the knowledge that Mr. Cash is sharing with us in maybe sometimes too many ways, it's involved. It contains that, of course. So let's see if we can approach it on a different way, and maybe use one or two tools from the casual way of seeing it to maybe achieve another way of completion.
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to ask before, because I have them several years ago, before I studied cash and what on, and I just want to ask because yeah, it's a different way to become balance the hemispheres and to get in this state of yeah, out of body experience. It's really an institute, and they search since years, and they have very interesting things. They different rooms of an out of body experience. They meet when they are dreaming, and then afterwards they tell what they have talked together, whatever, and it's yeah, and there you can see they really meet and yeah, and it's very interesting. And so I bought some CDs from a year 10 years ago, and it's really nice to hear them, but they are from 1 to 20 whatever. Just I'm stopped at 6. I don't come further because it's really it's not easy to do it by this CDs, and I just want to know if it's a way to learn. It's just the question. That's because I ask.
We are all in many ways differently connected, but also the same connected to what we perceive as reality. This is something that goes, how you say, straight into your inside through the hearing, and well, this sounds very interesting. I just tried a few of these, and they always left me like I was basically at the beach in so many ways. Maybe we can exchange a little about that in the background, Stephanie, and see how it goes.
Yes, just okay, we do. Thank you.
Welcome. So maybe it will help to bring what we were talking today into the bigger picture. And so I would like to go back to the map. And now if I make the writing device and the map, if I fuse them together, I can show you here in more or less here. No, not accurate. Below, no. It's hard to draw in the unknown, but if you have a little left reference, so we are here at the beach somewhere here. And I have to admit that last week I think we forgot about the butterfly, but this will just go, I think, too much out of the limit to add that again. Yet we are not at the 6th of June yet, so let's see that we can definitely fit in the butterfly next week. So we have the water state here on the left side, and now we are basically on the verge to go into the oxygen and the carbon. I have to put it in another color than black. And so as we have seen in the first few sessions, if we are able to split this, we can sustain ourselves in the water. And now we have to get to know the relationship. Well, it's not, we don't have to, we already are doing it, but when we have more depth inside of the knowledge, and the plasma technology is going so down, so deep, that it's hard to where you could stop. So it's literally like a stairway, and here you have smaller, and here you have big, and we are somewhere here along the way. And so those different compositions of matter states we shall find here in different areas on that map. And so the adventure from the water here has its pluses and minuses, and we will find this maybe here in a different way of how we can look at it. And so we will progress to what already was taught 30 months ago in that video that you had a glimpse on today. So we will basically go, and as I teach, towards the top of the mountain, and we will see what kind of entity we will face there on the way top. So it will be hopefully also for you very entertaining at least, but if you can sometimes maybe just try to replicate feelings and states, maybe you can see that there is what I call a stance. So it's something between the substance of what you are in particles, but you're also in a position of, you know, so I'm not sure if this is a walking position, but in you know, just a stance means that you have a certain attitude that is in your movement or in your way of behavior recognizable, and this stance involves every other how you say, it really depends on the environment and what kind of stance you have, but you need to have this primal or original stance to basically recognize yourself, but this is easier said than done. So what about the griffin? What do you mean? Wait, there is Malcolm Griffin. He joined us in the other teaching. He's from Ireland. Do you talk about him, or do you mean the entity of the kind of chimera?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you?
That's the logo. That's like the entity that's on my school's logo, and I had that in my dream as well a long time ago. So that's why I was thinking about it. But I know it might be a bit out of touch for the rest of today. So I was just putting it out there. I could not reach to you.
Okay, so but this is interesting because I also had a dream with the griffin, and it is more or less appropriate in these months and years we are right now. So yeah, let's save it for the next week. I would like to share, maybe if you can remember or even draw something in that you had in that dream. So we
I painted it.
Oh, very well.
I will try to be here next week.
That would be very nice. Yes. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to add to it? There are still more people joining. Okay, I think we are all well fed for tonight, and we will literally start our journey on land on the next Monday, and maybe we can also speed it up a little bit before the 6th of June. So for those who might be very close, so maybe this is just a little tip of our doings as the Mozhans, and we can, at least one of us or many of us, can achieve that state and existence very soon. So thank you very much all for coming tonight. It was a pleasure to have you here, and I hope we can share so many beautiful time together and bring the light into the darkness all together. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good night. Good morning. Good night.
Oh yeah, okay. I slept 3 days. Now I try to be awake in 3 days.